Nubia, so nice to meet you. And
Nice
see
to
you,
meet
not
you.
meet you. Nice to see you. How are you?
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Good, good. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Because you do so much and
I do.
this is valuable.
I do.
So let's start right out. Where'd you grow up?
So I was born here in New York, and I left when I was 5. My parents met here, and they moved back to Colombia. So I left when I was 5, and I grew up in Colombia. And
What part of Colombia?
It's a small town in Armenia, and it's between Cali and Medellin. It's like the smallest state, but the largest producer of coffee of the country.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And when did you come back to the
I
States?
came back in 97, 98. My parents actually separated, and so my grandmother was still living here. And I came here in the States with my siblings and my mom, and so I was like 17.
How many siblings there?
I have 2.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm the oldest.
Boy, girl?
Boy
brothers?
and girl, yes.
Boy and girl?
Mm-hmm.
So the boy's the middle?
He's the youngest.
The youngest?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it would be like
We
my
gave him
family.
grief.
You gave him grief, I'm sure.
Yes.
2 older sisters. That
Obviously.
must be tough. Oh, my God. 2 Colombian sisters,
Yes,
too. Look out.
yes, we have that temper.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to
Excuse me.
school in Queens. So I finished high school in Astoria, and then
What school?
Bryant High School.
Oh, okay. I went
Yes.
to. I finished in Long Island City.
Oh, okay. Yes, close.
Yep.
So we pretty much.
My
grew
wife
up in
went to
Queens.
Bryant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So funny you said
Look at
yeah.
that. Yeah. My mom went to when she was growing up. She went to Bryant as well.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So
Is Mom around my age in the 50s?
My mom is in 60, 64.
Okay. So,
So,
I
yes.
was going to say I might know her. Did she grow up in Astoria or
In Sunnyside.
Sunnyside? Okay.
Sunnyside, yes.
How about you? Did you live in
Well,
Astoria?
no, I didn't get a chance to live in Astoria, but I lived in Sunnyside. And then as an adult, I live in Maspeth.
So how'd you end up going to Bryant?
Because Sunnyside was still part of that district. So Bryant.
Was it really? I thought
yeah.
that was Woodside and Astoria.
No, it kind of went into like 48th Street, 44th Street, all the way down from Queens Boulevard down to, that was the zone school.
Oh, that's right, because it was Queens Boulevard. So
Yeah.
the Sunnyside, if you stayed by the park.
By
it
the
was,
park, right. So I was on that side.
What was that, Skillman, right?
Yes.
Skillman Park,
Around
yeah.
the area, yeah.
That's right. So, I used to play ball then. I played a little roller hockey back
Oh,
then.
wow.
Yeah, when I was a
Yes.
kid.
So
yeah.
you know the area very
Yeah,
well.
no, I grew up there. I grew up in Astoria.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we used to, when we were kids, we used to play by the train tracks over there.
Oh, wow.
By Skillman Avenue. And we used to
Wow.
go. It was obviously not built up when I was a kid. In
Right,
the 70s
right.
and the 80s, it was still,
Yeah.
desolate and, it was just land.
Yes.
Like I said, train tracks and.
Yeah, it wasn't as developed as it is now until like all Long Island City and stuff. So yeah.
And now, where do you currently?
So
reside?
I've been living in Massapequa for 2 years.
Okay.
So I was in Queens, my young adulthood, and then I moved to
And you were in Sunnyside when
Maspeth.
you were a kid?
Yes, I was in Sunnyside, and then I moved to Maspeth when I
Okay.
got married and settled down. And then after a while, we were outgrowing the house where we lived in, so we moved to New Hyde Park.
Okay.
And then from New Hyde Park, during COVID, I kind of wanted to, I didn't know what the situation was going to be. So I told my husband, you know what, if we're not going to be traveling as much, because we weren't traveling at all, especially because we had young kids and we had opposite schedules at work, we were like, we're not going to be traveling, then we're going to have to find somewhere that we can feel like it's vacation to us all year round.
Yep.
And that's what we decided to do. So we moved further east. He did not want to. He was very grounded and adamant that he's a city kid. He didn't want to. He thought that just moving east was going to be in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so
See that.
further, as we moved, I convinced him further east. I was like, I'm going to an open house. And he goes, well, I'm not leaving. And I tell him, well, then you come and visit me on the weekends.
There
He
you
goes, well,
go.
you're not going alone. And I was like, okay, well, then come with me. Until we found somewhere that we liked.
You
And
always win.
yeah.
The women always win that.
It's strategy.
That's all it is. It's a good strategy. You don't have
It's
to explain
strategy.
that strategy because I always lose that too.
So-
When I'm moving, next thing I know, I'm freaking
You're
packed
packing.
up and,
You're packing.
and doing it all. It's hysterical.
That's how
So
it
you end
is.
up in Massapequa.
Yes.
Okay, and you're there now 2 years.
Yes, and I've been there for 2 years.
Okay. And Did you go to college or?
I went to college. Actually, my college career was a little complicated because it took me 13 years to graduate.
Oh, at least you graduated.
So yes, no, and
God bless,
you know when
congrats.
I had money, I would register for school, and when I didn't have money, I would work so I can save up and then go to school.
Okay.
You know, so it took me a little bit longer than everybody else, but you know, I take pride in saying, you
I
know,
would too.
I paid for my school and I didn't owe a bill, you know, when I graduated, so it was nice.
God bless.
I started off in architecture. I did 5 semesters of architecture at Pratt
wow.
Institute.
Where?
And Pratt
Okay.
Institute. And because I was a young mom, it was very difficult to
Could imagine.
do design and work in architecture and do my projects and raise a baby. So
How many children do you currently have?
I have 3.
3.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I
Same
have
thing.
3.
2 girls and a boy. Or?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl. So the
Yes.
opposite. Okay.
Yeah, and then my daughter's the middle.
Okay.
So I have 2 boys.
So she's the boss, I'm sure.
Oh,
yeah.
she's brutal. She's my mini me on steroids.
There you go. Nice.
But yeah, so because it was and I lost the passion for architecture because the design aspect it wasn't filling me, you know, not sitting behind a computer all day long, that wasn't my
Sure.
thing. And I was bartending and serving tables at the time, you know, to
Where'd you
make ends
bartend?
meet. All Times Square.
Oh,
all
wow.
the Times Square area, you know, back in the early 2000s. So I did all the franchises, the Applebee's, the Red Lobsters, the Chevys,
Oh, wow.
Tavern on the Green, Hard Rock.
Worked at
So-
Tavern?
Yes, I did.
That's
I
awesome.
did. So I did those, and you know, I made a
That's
living
still
off
open,
of it.
right?
Tavern?
Yeah.
They closed it for a
For
while.
a little bit, right? They
Yeah,
did
and
construction
they
there.
were doing construction again. Yes.
And
So
it's the one in Central Park,
in
right?
Central Park, yes.
My
I
aunt
haven't
actually
been
got
there.
married there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long ago?
20 years ago, 30 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
I
So
remember going
I
to
was
it.
probably working during that time. It's been that long.
Wow.
So-
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
So I had a lot of hospitality background during that time, and you know that paid the bills. And in the meantime, I was going to school, and I had an internship in an architectural firm, and so you know I did that to kind of get experience in the field. But while I was bartending, and during that time in Times Square area, they were doing a lot of construction. And in construction, you had all the guys coming into the happy hours and coming to, you know, visit the bar during the happy hours and stuff after hours. And they were all in construction. And I was fascinated by construction and constructability of structures.
Sure.
So although I had left, you know, architecture, I really liked the conflict resolution, the working in a team to be able to assemble a building or a structure. So I started doing a lot of research. I got into that. And I decided to register for construction management at City Tech in Brooklyn. So I did that. I did a few semesters there. And then I realized, you know, I was like, you know what, in order for me, because there's so few women in construction, I was like, you know, maybe I should go into one of the trades so I can be respected, you know, and be able to prove that I can be in the field. And, you know, I'll go into becoming an electrician, a trade.
That's what I was saying.
So I was like, okay. So I got accepted into becoming an electrician, but I was already going to school, and and then I get an offer as an assistant project manager for an architectural firm as well. And I go to one of my professors in school, and I ask him, which one should I pick? Should I become an apprentice or should I become a project manager? But like, what realm should I go so I can be able to move up quicker? And he goes, leave the trade and go into becoming an assistant project manager, and you will be able to move up. And I'm like, well, if I don't have the experience and if people don't take me seriously because I'm a female, what should I do? He goes, you'll work your way out. You'll work it. And I said, okay. So I did that. I listened to his advice. I did that, and I never looked back. I did that for 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless. Good advice.
Yes. Yes.
That's very good advice. So you ended up, so you become project manager. Did you move
did.
up? Or?
I did. I was an assistant project manager for a design firm. Then I went into a mid-sized construction company, and I did that for a few years. And then I worked for a small developer in
What did
Brooklyn.
you do for the mid-sized construction company?
So for those type of projects, I did public work because it was right during between like 2007 and 2010, we were doing a lot of rebuilding downtown Manhattan after 9/11. So during that time, they were doing reconstruction of facade restorations over like on Fulton Street.
Sure.
So they had, you know, that type of projects. I did a residential condominium on 14th Street as well. So that was also a 3-year project. All those projects have been like 3-year durations, approximately. So that kept me quite busy during that
So
time.
you're running those jobs?
I was
sites?
running, yes. I was assisting and running all those jobs at that time, yes.
And what does that consist of, though, running of them? So
So-
you're watching the work. What are you making sure it gets done?
So I'm the right-hand person of the superintendent. That is the one that's actually running the project with the labor and stuff. But as an assistant project manager at the time, you handle everything that has to do with the meetings, the coordination, the buyouts of the trades, the scheduling, the budgeting. You assist in doing the counting of the manpower, walking the sites, flagging any possible problems. You're not solely responsible for absolutely every decision or every problem that occurs, but you assist in resolving everything. So it's a good
Interesting.
place to be when it comes to learning, because if you have somebody take you under your, under his or her wing, then you'll be able to learn a lot in so many aspects, and you also learn how to deal with people.
So now, were you dealing with the locals and the unions, or
I dealt with both union and non-union. So I had the opportunity of having projects where I had to deal with union and non-union. And during that time, there was a transition where, no longer, so the union was starting to get slow because the developers are also going into non-union projects, right? As long as, because it was a little bit more budget friendly, it was a faster pace. So they learned to kind of work together to be able to make it work, to build.
What's the average time length for a job to get done? You said 2 or 3 years?
Well, it depends on the size of the project, but on a $20 million project, it probably could be anywhere between 18 to 24 months.
Wow.
And sometimes, depending on the complexity, working in the city is very tough. You have
imagine.
DOB, DOT, you have so many
Everybody,
entities,
yeah.
everybody's
Fire
involved,
department, I'm sure
everybody.
everyone's getting-
You get shut down all the time,
Sure.
and it's a very, very
Did you ever do ground
complicated.
up work where you're doing new construction?
I did, yes. Hotels in
Really?
Midtown, yes. And you know that in New York City, it's fascinating because there's a city within a city underground.
That's right, yeah.
Right? And the
Yeah.
amount of infrastructure and the utilities and everything that goes underground is fascinating. So in order for you to get all
Yeah,
those
it's the brains
approvals,
of-
it's complicated,
Yeah.
when you're, especially because you're also building on rock, right? And you have structural issues and you have things of that sort. So it's a very great, if you can build here, you can build anywhere.
Right, yeah.
For sure. For sure.
You're right, 100% right.
Yes.
So, okay, so what year did you get out of the project managing?
And
world?
transition
Yeah.
into here. So I've always had 2 different lines of business. When I was growing up, my dad always said, you can't go by your looks, you have to go with your smarts, and that's going to take you a lot farther. So I always have to have you depending on the market and everything. I always had 2 jobs, right? I was working in the restaurant business, and I was learning construction management. When I was doing construction management, I was teaching as well, because I got an offer to teach at City Tech as an adjunct professor, and I loved doing it. So I think it was, at the time when I graduated, there was only 3 females in my class, in my graduating class. When I went back to teaching, half of the class were females. So we've come a long
Wow.
way in the industry,
God
and that's
bless.
in 10, 15 years. So it was very nice and refreshing to actually be able to see that, because it shows that we bring a lot to the table
That's
as well,
right.
even in construction, which is such a male-dominated industry, and
Absolutely.
it was very tough. So that in that portion, and then when I was teaching, and then I had to actually, unfortunately, leave teaching because my project moved to Harlem, and I was teaching in Brooklyn, and I had my home in Queens, so I was doing
All over the
3 all
place.
over. So I had to kind of pick and choose what I needed to do. So I left teaching, and then I decided to become a licensed home inspector.
Jeez.
So that's why you kind of have to keep track of what I've been doing, because I did that.
Where do you
because-
get that from? That's like, because I'm a creature of, I'm going to stay put.
Oh, I don't know. It's just by nature because I've always been like that. So ever since I was
You
young,
just get
my
bored
mom told
easy, or
no, it doesn't get bored easy, but I need to be stimulated mentally constantly and learning. Like if
okay,
I'm going into a pattern where it becomes just so monotonous, I continue doing my job because that's what. But I need something that fills me. So I need to be
interesting.
able to do something that I'm fascinated with, or that I know that I can do well, or just by learning. My children are like that as well.
It's a great thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's something that you can never go wrong because let's say something, if the market is doing bad in whatever industry you're in, you always have a backup plan.
Right.
So you always have the confidence that you're going to do fine no matter
That's
what.
right.
Or if you're unhappy at a job, that's not going to stop me. I quit and then figure out
That's
what's
right.
coming next because I always have a backup plan. I can always go back to the bar if I need to. I can always go back to serving tables if I have to. I can always
Teacher.
teach if I need to, or if I can do home inspections, I can do that on the side as well. So
That's awesome.
it's always important to kind of have that. But I try to keep the things in common, right? So I do love
You can
buildings.
see that, yeah.
I love like anything that has to do with the structure of a house, of functioning, of systems, of that sort. So I've always been fascinated with that. I purchased my first home when I was 24. That was like my American dream. And being able to do that at a young age and with all the hardship that I had when I came to this country, it says a lot. Like you try to do your best and you take pride in that,
That's absolutely
And I
right.
had a lot of difficulties when I purchased my first home. A lot. They would give me a hard time because I was too young. On my second home, they would give me a hard time because, they would tell me, the agents would tell me, well, you can't purchase because this is a predominantly, let's say, Asian neighborhood, and everybody pays cash. I'm like, okay, but why can't I purchase
sure.
it? That has nothing to do with it.
Right.
So I would get a lot of pushback. On my next house, they would say, oh, well, can you write an essay because you shouldn't be in this neighborhood? So every single time, I've had a very challenging experience with real estate.
That's interesting.
Even though that was something that I was very passionate about at the time as purchasing for me as a buyer, right? So, it came to the point where...
But let's go back to the home inspector. You get into that.
Yes,
Okay, what year was that?
that was 2016.
2016. You get into a home inspector. You take a test. What did you
Yes,
do?
for the home inspection class, I decided to register for the courses. I took the test.
So you're just sitting at home one day and you're like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, sure. I saw it, and I was like, oh,
That's
you know
awesome.
what? Home inspections is in construction. I think it'll come to me easy. It can't be that difficult. I go up to my husband. I was like, I'm going to be a home inspector. I hear that you can make good money on the side, and we can do this. And he goes, oh, God, okay.
Here we go
One more
again.
thing, right? One more thing. I'm like, do you need to do one more thing? I was like, this would be good. Maybe I'll leave construction and have my own home inspection industry. Maybe I can work for myself. And he goes, okay. Whatever, do whatever. It's
awesome.
okay. He goes, okay. So if there's anything that I have to say, he has never shut down any of my dreams. So
Well, why would
he
he?
has that support. I have that support system that no matter how crazy it is, he's run with it.
Yeah.
He knows that I come from a very tough background when it comes to
kind of work did your
going
husband do?
He's in hospitality, actually. We're not even related. We met in hospitality, actually. We used to bartend together, and, that's how we
That's
ended
awesome.
up. He became a manager, then he went back to the bar, and, although he finished school and stuff, he never had to pursue it because he was always doing well.
Good for him.
So, but
That's
since
awesome.
I had to leave the hospitality because as we had children, I couldn't work at night anymore. I didn't want to. I wanted to be home and care for the kids. So I
course,
needed to pick something else that it was more suitable with what I was doing. So that's how we ended up doing it.
So you're in home inspections, and take me through that. What was your first? You remember your first deal? Your first
My
home inspector?
my first inspection. Oh, I can't remember my first inspection. But actually the classes were here in Hauppauge, and this was the further east that I've ever been ever. So
Okay.
for me, I felt like I was going from New Hyde Park to Hauppauge, and I thought that was super far, at the time, and it was right after work hours. So it was a 2-hour
Now
commute
you're still
to there.
what's the name at this point, right? You're
I'm still construction.
project-
I'm
yeah.
still project manager.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm still doing project manager. At that time, I was probably working with a roofing company as a chief operating officer. So I was managing the office and all the logistics of the company at the time
Okay.
because it was.
So do
small
you know how to
roof-
lay a roof? If like you went up, like your house needs
I
a
know
roof.
what the systems belong. I'm not usually the one with the hammer, but I'm the one that can tell you if this is wrong or not. I'm the one that can tell you, you know, you need to be able. This goes
This
first,
is-
and then the next trade is going to follow after you, or this is going to be the budget that we have. This is what we're going to do. Or
You know
this
all
is
the
system.
materials that are needed and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Well, you have the different specs and stuff.
Sure.
But you have all, yeah. So after
Difference
that,
between a tar roof and a
correct.
shingle. and all.
Yes, yes.
Wow. That's
And
interesting.
so after that, I did home inspections for a while, but it wasn't. I don't strike to be very shy, but I was the type of person that I don't go and chase people for stuff. Like it was like, how am I going to get into home inspection? I don't know any real estate agents per se, like a lot of them, to be able to kind of continue the business. So I did it more for my friends, my family, the people that I knew, and that's how I usually got the business. And I continued doing that. And then one day, you know, probably maybe like I was doing a home inspection for one of my girlfriends, and she tells me, she goes, you know so much, and you're already in construction and stuff. You should stay in this line of business and do it for yourself. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I don't feel like I'm ready yet, you know. And at the time I was doing projects in Brooklyn and developing in Brooklyn, and I kept on, like in my trailer, I kept on getting people to come to me asking me for work. And it was mostly women, and it was mostly single moms, and they were like, if you have any job and stuff like that. So I come to my boss one day, and I was like, you know something? I want to find a job for all these women. They come to me, and they need it. Maybe I should open up a post-construction cleaning company. And he goes,
Good
yeah.
idea.
You know what? Yeah, you could start off with my project and stuff like that and see how it goes. So I did that. And what I did was, because there were small projects and I already had my job, what I wanted to do was gather all the women that used to approach me, that needed the work, that needed a hand at the moment, and get them to work. And set them up and have a job. And it was temporary jobs. It would work with their schedules, with their, they could pick up the kids and do everything and just do the work as long as you met that deadline. And so that's what I did. And I did that for a few years as well while I was doing everything else. And
So now you're a bartender, waiter, home inspector.
I had my post-construction cleaning company.
That's
I
so awesome.
taught. And then, during COVID, I stopped because, I had to kind of reshift and focus on my house, my home, my everything. And although I could have boomed with that, right, the cleaning and stuff, and disinfecting and things of that sort.
Especially during COVID.
Yes, but I didn't want to do it because I wasn't ready. I didn't feel like I was ready to do that. And what I ended up doing was kind of getting everybody at home situated. I didn't want my kids to be awkward because they were at home being taught and isolated from everybody for 2 years, almost 2 years. And I needed to kind of like say, you know what, I need to move further east to kind of be able to normalize them and keep them with a normal childhood. And then I moved to Massapequa. And then here, when I moved to Massapequa, I got an offer of being a project manager to build schools. And I did that for 5 years.
What schools?
I did Uniondale School District. I did 9 schools there. And then I did a high school in Oceanside. And then I moved to Hauppauge to begin a project, but I never got a chance to kick it off
That's so
because I ended up in real estate.
Wow. What did you ever do schools in Bayside or anything like that?
No, I didn't know.
A good friend of mine runs that. He's
Oh,
the
yeah?
superintendent for, I think that's Turner.
Yeah.
If I'm not
They
mistaken.
probably have.
Yeah, I think
the
it's
school
either
district.
Turner or the other big
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
And he runs that shop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, James Breck.
I loved it though. Building schools was very. It was a great learning experience for me because I had not run schools per se, but for me it was so fulfilling because once I finished those projects, I could see the children like running those hallways and enjoying that. And me as a mother, for me, it was
great.
like it was so gratifying to actually be able to see that. I would enjoy that.
So that was ground up, or was that remodeled?
So I did both. I did additions and ground up, and I also did interior restoration, which was very tough because that's all the summer work. So
was gonna
any
say, that's everything
restoration
in the
work that
summer,
happens has to happen during those 7 weeks. So while everybody's enjoying vacation in the summertime, I was working around the clock during that time, those 7 weeks,
That's right.
to make sure schools are ready for school opening. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was flipping homes. We never flipped during that time because it was hard to get permits
Oh,
and
yes,
all of that stuff.
absolutely,
With
absolutely. Because
especially
schools are
anything next to the
priority.
school, yeah,
Yeah.
schools are a priority.
Yeah.
And I remember sewers and all of
Oh,
that came
yes,
into play.
utilities and stuff. Yeah,
Utilities,
yeah, yeah.
everything was
Those
an
are fun
issue.
times.
Oh yeah, it was. It's amazing. Yeah, because all your projects are going on.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
How did they get it done in that? What's the budget like, and what's that look like?
So
for a
in Uniondale
7-week
in particular,
program?
so let's say in Uniondale in particular, since I did 9 schools and we were doing them simultaneously, it's a $158 million bond that passed. So they distribute that. Let's say the one particular project that let's say I get assigned. My latest project was a middle school, and that was alone $17 million to do. So along, let's say, 2 years that you have to do, let's say you have a schedule of 24 months. During that time, you phase everything. So I know because you're also weather dependent, right? You're at the mercy of the weather.
That's right.
I had very rainy summers. And so for me, it was very challenging. So I had to shuffle things around to make sure that I would be able to meet my deadlines. It was very, although it was very challenging, it also says a lot if all my projects are delivered on time and on budget,
Absolutely.
that I know what I'm doing, right?
Sure.
So it helps a lot with experience
Now,
to
do
be
you
able
have
to
carte blanche
juggle.
on the time? Do you have like overtime? You're granted everything on something like that, or is it? And that's the city that's taking care of that, right?
So that is really, yeah. So at that point, you get permits and So Albany actually approves the drawings. Once you get the drawings and stuff, then you have the architect that actually filed for the drawings, and then they'll be able, depending on how the contracts go, you get like a set of trades that are approved that you are able to go to bid, and you go out to public bid, and then once those come in, you'll be able to vet them out, make sure all the scope is included, and then once you vet them out and you have those de-scope meetings, then you do the letter of recommendation. And then
Sure.
once you do the letter of recommendation, then you
How many bids
hire.
did you see in a?
How
in a
many
job? How many
what?
bids?
How many bids? Per trade, you would see like around 5 or 6 bidders per
And that's
trade.
the electricians, plumbers.
Correct.
I don't think you have elevators or anything like that.
No,
really getting
no,
involved.
it's very sporadic that you have the elevators,
Carpenters.
but usually the elevators come under the GC. So
Okay.
at that time, I'm a construction manager. I don't serve as a GC. If I was serving as
Okay,
a
that's
GC,
right.
it's a different type of contract. So
Sure.
you buy everybody out. But as a construction manager, you represent the school district, right? And
Sure.
so you're representing them and managing the project, making sure. And
So you're managing all.
you're
the-
managing all the trades and stuff.
GCs
So
and-
you manage the GC, and then they have, other than the GC that covers most of the trades, then you have the electrician, the plumber, and the mechanical. Those are awarded separately. And I'm talking about schools. That's how they do it.
Sure.
And so
Why is that done that way? Is it just?
that has
the
so
way they
you
have it.
can be able to control better the management of the project, because those are important trades. Those
Sure.
are main trades.
Those
And
are
if
the main
something
ones,
goes
yeah.
right, something goes wrong, and those come in first before anything else.
Right.
So if you have an issue with those, then you need to be able to control those, and you can control the budgets better when it comes, if you separate those in particular, because those are high cost
Of course,
trades. And then the GC, which is the big one, they cover all the other people. So they cover the painter, the carpenters, the elevator guys, all those
Laborers,
trades.
all that stuff.
Exactly, everything that has to do, during the phase.
Sure.
And so once you get awarded and you vet them out, then you have them issue a schedule, and then you incorporate that into your master schedule, and then you create the master schedule, and you go to them and say, okay, is this going to work for you guys?
So now you're dealing with the superintendent of that company, or like, let's say you're talking to the elevators. The reason I keep saying elevators, that's what I did when I was a kid. My
Okay.
father was in
Oh.
Local 1.
Yeah,
Right. So
okay.
are you dealing directly with the superintendent, or are you dealing with the foremans? Are you dealing
So
with?
so I always get a person to actually represent, the representative, whoever's being able to make the decision. I need the field guy that is able to make the decision.
field guy, so
Yes, the
probably
field
a
guy.
foreman then,
Correct.
so-
It could be
okay.
the foreman, or it could be the project manager that comes to the meeting and makes the decision. It depends on how they want to. The company breaks it down.
Okay.
I'm not very particular about
You
it.
could care less,
I could
yes.
care less, as long as somebody that can make the
Somebody's there
decision can come to my meetings, and I can be able to address the issues
And
or
now
what comes up.
in those meetings, you're focusing on what? Time?
So everything. So I start off with
Perfection.
a kickoff meeting. I introduce myself in the kickoff meeting, and then what I do is I say, okay, this is my agenda. This is what I'm looking to do. This is how we're going to work it out. This is how you're going to be able to reach me on a weekly basis. On a daily basis, I'm going to be, I'm your point person. When things happen, when you have an issue, you come to me. You don't go to the school, you don't go to anywhere. You just come to me, and then I'll be able to address it. And so every week we have a meeting, we have a field
How
meeting.
often do you have somebody try to go over your head?
You know, I've been very lucky.
Good.
Never. I think I set my tone from the beginning because I'm not one to be aggressive. So it was very particular because I did have my senior managers that are always watching and stuff like that. And it's complicated because you always have to prove to them what my style is. And I'm a female and you know, I may be soft and stuff, but my contractors love me. And
yeah, it
because
seems like
I'm
you're a take charge person.
yes,
Yeah.
and so I'm very hands-on, like conflict resolution. I'm not here to babysit you. I'm here to, if you have an issue, I am here to help you find a solution so we can keep the project moving. And I also help to keep the project harmonious because tensions run high.
Sure.
It's a very high stress level job. You know, there's a lot of testosterone going on, so obviously you butt heads constantly with there's certain tempers that you have to deal with and stuff. But
Because other trades can't start until they're finished.
correct,
Right?
and they drive. There you have those trades that are just followers, right? You're waiting for the main trades to go in, and if they are not doing their job, then you can't go. Or you're at the mercy of the utility companies. I was having issues with, National Grid, for example, the gas company. It's tough. It's very challenging. So,
That's interesting.
you know, sometimes when those things delay, then I have to do other things, right? I have to focus on finishing other ways. And I think that what helped me was that I can walk freely in the hallways of the school, right? Because I'm a female and I have a softer tone, so the teachers were not intimidated by me. The children are not scared when they see me and stuff, you know? So those things allow me to actually be able to coordinate with the people in the school and while operations were going, so I
Sure.
can get things done,
Okay.
right? So that helped me a lot,
So
actually.
is anything going on once they're back to school? Is it all halt at that time?
No, I work.
Oh, you
After,
still work?
yes. Actually, you have after-school activity. You have mechanicals working. You have electrical working. You have a lot of things that are working that people do overnight work. So you have that. And then you have the weekends.
Weekend work. So if a job starts June 30th, it can carry until December possibly.
Correct, yes. But you have to make sure that by September 1st, everything is clean and operational and ready to
It
go.
can't be dust or anything like that. It has to be
It
spotless.
has to be done. And things that drive, let's say, noise, because obviously you're drilling and stuff like that, I usually coordinate that at 6 in the morning, between 6 and 7:30, before kids start school, and then after 3:30. So whatever things, let's say they have to core drill, they have to do other things, then I make sure that they are prepared. Like I prepare ahead of time. All the things that I know that's going to be an issue,
Sure.
like I plan it. And I use the holidays, you know. Let's say they have a holiday that's coming up. They have spring break. They have this. I could use those gaps to fill in with the big things. Like I need to demo a wall. I need to be able to have that. I'm like, tell me, guys, how long is it going to take you? Can I do this in 3 days? And they're like, yes, no. And so I can move those activities, and I can be able to do that without being invasive.
It must be interesting as a kid coming back
And all of a sudden, you're missing a wall.
Yeah. Is there a wall there?
The kids are super curious.
Right?
They're
They
super
have to be.
curious, and you have to build temporary walls constantly because they're always like trying to figure out.
That's
They
right,
want to
what's going on?
look
Yeah,
what's going on.
So, so you said you get into real estate. What year was
Yes.
that?
Last year,
Last year.
2024. Yes.
Take me through that process. You get licensed.
So I was going
Pretty
through.
bored. Life, not enough work.
No, that's not exactly how it happened, but yes, it ended
That's
up.
not what happened. Yes, yeah.
I ended up having to. I was actually purchasing an investment property with my husband and my son. It's my son's first transaction.
You don't mind me asking how old your son?
He's 24.
God bless
He's going to
him.
be 24.
Same age as you.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. They still think that I'm super old, that I don't know anything. So trust me, it's like
That's awesome.
it's one of those things. But so I've always he likes real estate, and he likes it because he knows that I'm very passionate about it. So he was like, "Mom, I want to do that too, but I want to do that on the side." He's aircraft maintenance technician.
cool.
So, he fixes planes for a living.
That's really cool.
And so, yes, so
That has to
he's
be stressful too.
it is very stressful because they have like certain hours
know.
that he needs to be ready to go, and the planes need to. And if they
fly.
can't find the solution to the problem, then
grounded.
it's grounded. So yes, he has a very stressful job. He works at night, so it's tough.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of those guys where they said it even comes down to the bathroom. If there's something wrong in the bathroom, the
Oh,
plane,
yes.
plane can't take care
Yes,
of it. if
and
they
there's
can't
some
find
days
it.
that he comes home. He goes, "Don't even look at me. Don't even touch me." I'm like, "Go to the shower. Go
right.
to the shower," because he's in the pit and he's fixing the problems. So, yeah.
Well, thank him. He keeps him up there. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
No, it's a good job. He likes it a lot. He
So
likes it.
okay, so you get into the real
So I
estate
get into
business.
the real estate. I'm doing this transaction with my husband and my son, and I'm not happy with how things are going. And it comes to the I love the real estate agents that I work with, but I don't feel like
So without saying a company
do.
name or an
No.
agent, what did you like about your transaction? What didn't you like when you were purchasing?
I think something that I don't like is
that made you
not
want to
that
get
I'm
into the real estate?
not that I'm hard-headed, but I don't like to. Nobody should burst my dream, right? Other than me being able to realize that this transaction is not feasible.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I all my life in all my transactions, I always have somebody that says, "No, you can't do it."
Oh, okay.
Always. I've never had the experience where, like, you know what? Let's do this. You want to do this? Let's try it. We'll do it until the best we can. But I've always had that pushback
usually-
from my
who?
agents.
From the agent?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And it's been, maybe it's a coincidence, or maybe it was just fate because it was just meant to happen that
Okay,
way.
maybe,
So, it got to a point where I come home one day and I tell my husband, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I want to get my license. And he goes, "Okay, what else do you want to get your license?"
A lot of real estate agents do that
Because I
with
want
experience
to be
they
able
have.
to do my own transactions. I want to be able to drive the negotiating part. I don't think that it's that difficult for me to be able to do that. And I'm like, how hard can it be? And he
So
goes,
it's lack
"Okay."
of customer service that got
I
you in,
think that's what it
or,
was.
Hospitality?
Yes, not being able to feel completely fulfilled with the transaction, like what's going on with everything that's going on. And I thought that because I've dealt with these transactions in different phases of the market, I've learned the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I was like, okay, I want to be able to do that. And I constantly, the other driving part of it was the fact that I constantly had my friends and family and people that knew me. How do you do this? How do you buy properties? Like, New York is so difficult to buy. And in my community, people are like, that's the ultimate American dream. And like, it's so far-fetched for a lot of people. And I'm like, it is not.
It's not, yeah.
It is not, as long as you have a good team behind you, as long as you have somebody that is able to guide you well enough.
That's right.
And because I used to, go into teaching them and guiding them and kind of recruiting them for when they were going to college or when they were guiding them through things that they should do, I was like, you know what, this comes naturally. Maybe I should be able to get a license and then help those people that feel that they can't, it's too far-fetched. So that's what I ended up getting my license for. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still in construction. I'm building my schools and stuff.
Sure.
If I do 1 or 2 transactions a year for myself, I'm good to go.
But you didn't do that.
No.
That's awesome. So
It didn't end up happening that way.
first year you ended up with what?
So first year I ended up doing 13 transactions.
And you were the rookie of the year.
I was rookie of the year.
That's
yes.
pretty cool.
I was very lucky. Was very blessed. Thank you.
Awesome. And what gives you that drive though? Like what? And I get it. You're just in the blood. It's I should just hear you talking. You're passionate about
Yes,
everything that
I'm
you
very
do.
passionate about it. So what drives me is I get more excited than my clients. I think that's.
I can see that.
Oh, I am so passionate about it. I tell them ahead of time. I was like, listen, you're going to go in and you're probably not going to be very unmotivated, because I get a lot of very unmotivated, very like, this is not it's not meant to be. It's not in my budget. I can't. And I was like, no, this is not the attitude. You need to go in like this. You need to visualize, and it's going to come to you. You only give out, you're going to receive what you give out.
Right.
So from the beginning, we need to change that attitude. This is what we got. Start driving the neighborhoods you want to live in. Start visiting the restaurants that you're going to be, acquainting. Start meeting the neighbors that you're going to, where you want to be. Feel yourself like you deserve to be there, and then it'll come to you. Everything else, you just leave it to me, and I'll be able to help you. And so I started doing that, and I started with like 2 transactions. Actually, my first transaction was a student of mine. she calls me up, and she's like a ex-student of mine. She calls me up. She goes, Nubia, can you help me? You know, I know you're a licensed home inspector. I'm in the process of buying a house. Can you do an inspection for me? I was like, sure. I go do the inspection. I know she's a single mom of a 2-year-old. And I see her going through the whole, I do the inspection and I tell her, I can't let you buy the house. And she goes, why? I'm like, there's water in the basement that you cannot contain. The building, the foundation has structural issues. You can see it tilting. Like, I cannot let you do that. If it was an investor, she goes, it's the only house that I've gotten an offer accepted. I was like, and I'm not going to let you. I'm like, I'm not going to let you buy it. If you were an investor, if you were a different type of person, absolutely. You know, it's a different mindset. You are a single mom, and I love you to death. And I know how difficult. This is one of the most important decisions. And I was like, and if I were you, I would fire your agent because she would let you get into a pickle like this, and you know, give me a chance, and I'll be able to help you find a house within the month. And that's what we did.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was my first transaction, and it was very meaningful too, because she was like the happiest person, you know.
Wow.
So now it serves a purpose, because now I feel like I'm helping everybody that feels that they don't deserve to do this. You know, and it's different types of communities, different types of people. So, you know, for me, although it's challenging because it takes time and it takes beating part of their insecurities, I think it's very worth it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So the 13 houses in year one, right? What's your goals for year two?
Ooh, well, 13 houses in year one, they were all buyers.
All buyers.
All buyers. All buyers. So
That's difficult too. Oh my God.
And I've done. So I was doing construction during all those transactions. I just left construction management 3 months ago. So I was able to do this, you know, juggling 80-hour workdays, right? Building a school, meeting the deadlines from a school, and selling these properties after hours and on the weekends. So I think that, you know, I had to take a leap of faith and pick which one I wanted to. And I felt like I was very passionate about real estate, and that I had potential to actually make this as a very successful career. And I have a good enough background that I was, you know, that I was going to do well. So what I did was I made a decision and I left. Construction management, yes, and then I decided to pursue real estate full time. So for my second year, I'm excited because I want to be able to do from the seller side. Like, I already have a couple of deals in place that are happening, and I want to continue. You know, I want to double that. You know, I want to be able to pursue that. And something that is happening also. That I enjoy is that out of, let's say, the 13 transactions, 9 of them have come to me asking me for construction advice, or for if I can do their construction stuff. And I've kind of turned them down because at the beginning I was like, you know what, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm just going to sub it out and give it to my friends and you know, and my contractors, and then let them do that. But now I feel like as time goes by, there is a necessity for a smaller contractor that needs, for people that actually have little things to do around their houses when they recently purchase, or when a home inspection goes wrong, you know, they need that transition. So I'm focusing on that as well with my clients. So
you're giving them that extra.
Yes, that
value.
extra, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then what do you get most excited about, like, your whole career? I know it's every time it's changing with you, but where are you most excited? I guess that it's in the construction part. Is it now the real estate part? Where is it?
I think right now it is. So the real estate part brings me a lot. Brings me like a whole full
that has
circle.
To be all joy, right?
Yes.
Because
real estate has always
true.
Yes. So for one thing, real estate has brought me to like a full circle, right? I can teach. I can be able to build. I can be able to buy and do my own transactions as well. I can be able to invest. I can be able to flip if I wanted to. I can do so many things that I can incorporate so much of my experience throughout my life, and I can use my people skills from hospitality. I can use so many things that I can do that I think that real estate is. I just don't know why it didn't come to me sooner.
Yeah, I was curious. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, it didn't come to me sooner. I didn't realize that until last year, you know, when you know, that incident happened with one of my transactions. I was like, you know what, maybe I should do that.
How many properties do you currently own?
I usually buy and sell. Right now, I currently own 3,
Oh, nice.
and it's 2 families.
In New
so-
York?
Yes, in New York.
Okay. Anywhere else?
No, I mean, we used to own properties in Mexico and in Colombia. But it becomes difficult. The markets become difficult. Property management becomes very difficult because you can't rely on a lot of people to actually be able to maintain that. So you kind of you purchase it, you invest, and then you kind of sell them back.
What do you like? You like buying and flipping, or do you like?
So I've done both. I've
Okay.
done the flips, and I've also purchased to keep. I think my goal is to be able to purchase and keep more to have that passive income going. But in the meantime, building I like. I do like building. I think an advantage of being able to do, let's say I have a lot of investor clients that actually, and they like taking me because I have this,
Get
it's
the
easy for me
experience.
to visualize,
Right.
right? I can be able to put in numbers together really quickly and say, well, it's going to take you this much, or it's going to take you this much, or I can manage this for you if you'd like, or I
So,
can build this.
Another question for you: when you're in with your clients or your buyers, and you're out there, are you giving them the? Because I kind of like this too. I miss this in the sales because I don't really sell much. But if I'm helping somebody with, like, if I'm helping you with an open house, and I'm just there and I just feel like getting in the groove. I find myself giving them ideas on how to fix up the house.
Oh my goodness, I do that all the time, to the point that sometimes, let's say if I'm caught up with another client and I send them out on open houses, they don't want to go without me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
They don't. They're like, no, we're gonna wait for you. And I was like, no, I am sending you out, so I'll give you the list. You go out, and then when
Come
come
back together,
back
yeah.
and let me know what you like. And they're like, no, it's not the same, because I find potential in everything, right? And I can,
Same with me.
depending on the opportunity and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, you can do this. You have plumbing here. You can put the bathroom here. You can open this up. You can knock this down. You can add this. You can do this. And so I go crazy because I really like it. And they're like, I don't see the things that you see.
That's how I am. So yeah, it's so funny. That's why I was asking, because I'm the same way.
Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
I'm putting bathrooms. I'm
Yeah,
putting
yeah, yeah.
dormers up. I'm putting lofts. I've
It's
done it.
exciting. I'm like, oh, you can do so much here. You can do this. You can do that. You can add this. And it's exciting because you can see how excited I get.
Yeah,
and that's the
it's-
first thing I tell them when I have my first meeting is like, I'm gonna get more excited than you are. You have to bear with me. I'll do my best to kind of tone it down because I know that you guys. I don't want to scare you.
I'm not going to spend your
But-
money either. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's it. But I'm going to.
But it's gonna be exciting.
That's right. And then, so I like to ask this to every guest too. So I guess we're getting to the end right now. It's been great. This is awesome. Any of your kids into the same world?
Oh, it's
or-
interesting. My kids.
My children want nothing to do with this. And my son wants to get into the construction end.
It's very interesting. I was having that conversation with my daughter because my daughter is very advanced in school and she already has all her classes set up and stuff. And we're going through like her electives that she's supposed to be picking. And just last night alone,
What grade she in?
she's in 9th grade.
Okay, nice.
But she's taking like let's say 10th grade, like all these AP classes and all these advanced classes. Her schedule's very tight, so she only has a window for certain classes. And she goes, well, maybe I should take like some construction classes. And I was like, you've never voiced that you liked anything related to construction, because if that was the case, then we would have geared everything that we want to
Towards
do
that.
towards that. I'm like, yeah, you can use me as your tool. And she goes, well, I didn't say that I like that. Maybe I want to learn how to swing a hammer. I was like, really? Is that what you want to do? You don't want to manage the projects and stuff like that? She goes, no, I want to do it kind of for myself. And I'm like, okay, so far she's not inclined to do that. My son, not into construction. He is interested in real estate. And so, I told him, well, you know what? I'm probably going to end up not having to need of help and stuff. If you want to do it with me, let's do it. You don't have to do it all the time. And
He's 24, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so he was like, yeah. So he took his exam and stuff, and he's in that process. But because he's at work and his schedule, so that's going to take him a little bit of time. And
And what kind of work does he do again?
He's an airplane mechanic.
That's right, yeah.
And my
How did he end up in that?
because it's funny. My friends growing up all went to aviation high school.
A lot of friends
Right,
that
because
went
in
there,
that
too, that's
area,
right. Yeah,
and
Sunnyside.
so
I didn't think about
I
that.
saw my son struggling with because he didn't want to pick a career that was in like having to sit behind a desk all day, and he would lose focus a lot, and he was like, how am I going to survive? I need something. I was like, then go to a trade school, go to something that you enjoy, like if you like cars, if you like do mechanics. if that's something that is a passion, and you don't have to be behind a desk all day long in order to be successful. There's a lot of things. You need to use your strengths and also know what your weaknesses are and work with it, right? To be able to, I'm the same way. I couldn't stand, that's why I left architecture. I couldn't fathom the fact that I was going to be 13 hours a day in front of a computer drawing, designing. That's not me.
You ever miss that though?
No.
Really?
Not one bit.
Yeah.
I don't miss that one bit. You know why? Because at that time, I was young enough to have been able to realize that and make a decision.
But I think that's what put you into the world here, obviously. The architecture.
Yes, absolutely. And I was always fascinated by the design of the buildings and stuff like that. So yes, I did have that. Yeah. It just, I think the complications in my life, like the struggles and everything, kind of formed me and drove me into that. I kind of listened to that and just followed the path.
I'm always fascinated with the architecture, like the extraordinary ones, like the crazy,
the famous, yeah.
Not even, you know, like one guy I knew in Westchester where he asked me to sell his home, and it was a roundhouse, and I'm sure you've seen them before.
Yeah.
Where it was a circle, and it was like there's no corners, and all that. I'm like, how do you actually do something like that? Where
see,
the measurements
when it comes to that, I think that for me, the first thing that comes to mind is constructability. How hard was this to build? I can just imagine the construction team cursing the designer up all the time.
Because you need corners to measure, right?
Exactly. Like, try to survey that. Try to be able to get a straight edge so you can be able to build the furniture, you know, that type of stuff. So for me, when it comes to those type of things, the first thing that would come to mind wouldn't be the design, the fascinating, the beauty. The first thing to me is the resolution, how they came about to building it. So that's how you realize, I'm like, okay, so I did pick the right career, because that would be the first thing that I would focus on.
I guess so. Yeah, so crazy. But what are you looking for? What's your future holds for you now?
I'm so excited about everything. So I love real estate, and I'm going to continue with pursuing the real estate. I do want to be able to continue my construction into the real estate as well, and be able to use those skills to be able to form that division in the near future. Actually, I'm doing it in a smaller scale, but I want to be big. You know, I want to be able to grow that aspect of it, and you know, I think I'm capable of being able to negotiate a lot during this tough market. So I'm sure that once the market starts getting into a more stable, I think it's going to be a lot better. And I look forward to that. You know, I don't have any point of reference. I don't have anything to compare it with. So, you know, I only go with what I hear.
You're lucky in some way.
Yes, because, you know, when I started, you know, the whole rules and regulations and the lawsuit and stuff like that just started. So the paperwork and the changes there, I heard a lot of agents struggling with adapting to that. I didn't have anything. I was like, okay, give me what I have to get them to sign, and that's it. We'll work with that. You know, and then when the MLS and the matrix and everything changed from one system to another, then for me it was also, I had nothing to compare it with, right? I was like, okay, this is the system I have to learn. Exactly, this is what I need to learn.
That's awesome.
That this market is difficult because interest rates are high. Oh, okay, well, this is the only market I know because I got to work with what I got. So, you know, things are going to get better, and, you know, everybody can refinance later, and we'll figure it out.
100% right.
You know, so I think I have a very positive outlook on the market, on the trends, on everything, and people need to stop being scared, right? They need to be able to be confident that everything works itself out.
And it will.
And it will.
Right.
You know, so it's exciting.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next year.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to having you back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you, and I learned a lot today.
Thank you.
You're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.